Shu and I grew up together, childhood friends from the very start. His girlfriend has always been bothered by that fact. They often fought because of me, stuck in a cycle of breaking up and making up, a classic game of cat and mouse. Then, at a party, his girlfriend called me out in front of everyone. Chen Xiaoman, how about I set you up with someone? In the heavy silence, I glanced over at the man beside Shu, his good friend, Shen Lai. Then, with a smile, I shook my head. No need. I already have a boyfriend. The next second, Shu's face darkened, and he crushed the wine glass in his hand. Shu and Lin Junjun are back together. When I heard the news, I felt absolutely nothing. Qin Kan gleefully texted me the gossip. It took them a whole 3 months to get back together this time. That's a new record. I heard Lin Junjun stormed off abroad in a huff, and Shu had to chase her all the way overseas to sweet-talk her into coming back. They've been dating for 2 years, broken up at least 5 times, and still haven't gotten tired of the drama. I just smiled and didn't reply. I bet Shu's going to start making a fuss in the group chat about treating everyone to a meal again. Are you going? I sent a polite decline via a sticker. Nah, I'm busy practicing for a competition next month. Alright then, I'm definitely going to check out this chaotic couple. I'll fill you in on all the new gossip later. Sis, okay. Tilda nods like a puppy. JPG. After sending the message, I went back to practicing the piano. About half an hour later, I picked up my phone again and saw that Qin Kan had sent another new message. She seemed to have thought about it for a long time before finally asking. So, do you know why they broke up this time? No idea. Qin Kan replied almost instantly. I heard it's because Lin Junjun found out that Shu's phone passcode is your birthday, too. On Friday, our long-dormant group chat suddenly sprang back to life. No surprise, it was Shu. He posted a message saying he and his girlfriend had gotten back together, and he was treating everyone to a meal at the usual spot. Everyone chimed in with laughter, a mix of congratulations and good-natured ribbing. We're used to this by now, but congrats anyway. Slacking off. Brother Shu, took you way longer this time. When will I ever get to see the end of your on-again off-again drama? I was just typing to say I couldn't make it when Lin Junjun suddenly added me directly in the group chat. Lin Junjun, Xiaoman, you absolutely have to come. Sorry, I've been a bit swamped lately. Lin Junjun, oh, come on, it's just a meal. Lin Junjun, I've always misunderstood your relationship with Shu before. I'm sure it caused you a lot of trouble. Lin Junjun, I just want to apologize to you in person. Do me this favor, please. Tilda. Then followed an awkward, deafening silence. The group chat fell silent. I gripped my phone, a sudden wave of frustration washing over me. A moment later, I replied, okay. 3. The private room was already buzzing with activity when I arrived. As I pushed the door open, the air fell silent for a moment. Shu, seated at the head of the table, looked over at me, the deep furrow in his brow easing slightly. You're late, he said, patting the empty seat beside him. Come, sit here. Lin Junjun's expression faltered for a moment, but she still smiled and linked her arm through Shu's, a gesture that unmistakably staked her claim. Xiaoman, you're finally here. We've been waiting for you. Sorry, the traffic was a bit heavy. As he spoke, Shu's gaze remained fixed on me. I pretended not to see and turned to walk towards Qin Kan, who was waving at me from the corner. I had just sat down when Lin Junjun walked over, holding a glass of wine. Xiaoman, I'm really glad you could come. I used to always misunderstand the relationship between you and Shu, and I would get upset with him over it all the time. I made a bit of a scene in front of everyone, which is pretty embarrassing. I'm sure this has been a real headache for you too, and I want to apologize. I hope you won't hold it against me. Lin Junjun stood beside me, looking down at me with a somewhat insincere smile on her face. But it won't happen again. Shu has assured me over and over that even though you two grew up together, his kindness towards you is nothing more than an older brother looking out for a younger sister. You used to be so attached to him, but I guess you just saw him as a brother, right? The lively atmosphere fell silent once more. Everyone avoided eye contact, too awkward to utter a word. Shu was still staring at me, as if waiting for my answer. Qin Kan rolled her eyes and was about to speak, but I reached out to stop her. Then, I picked up my wine glass, stood up, and met Lin Junjun's gaze. I'm glad we cleared the air, and I accept your apology, I said with a faint smile. Shu was right, we're just ordinary neighbors. Please don't misunderstand him again in the future, it's hurtful." As I spoke, I raised my glass toward her. "To your everlasting happiness together." The moment the words left my mouth, a heavy thud echoed through the room. Ju-shu, his face cold, slammed his glass down onto the table. A flicker of impatience crossed his brow, but he spoke with forced calm. "You can't handle your drink, don't." Lin Junjun's face instantly paled, her knuckles turning white as she gripped the glass, because Ju-shu's words were directed at me. For Ju-shu and I met when we were 8. Our families living right next door to each other. In elementary school, when I started learning the violin, Ju-shu would always cover his ears from next door and yell, "Chen Xiaoman, are you sawing wood over there?" In middle school, when Ju-shu tutored me, he tapped my head with his pen in mock frustration. "Chen Xiaoman, how dare you daydream during my lesson?" In high school, I fell during P.E. class. He carried me on his back, running to the infirmary, his voice thick with worry. "Chen Xiaoman, are you hurt? Does it hurt?" Even later, when my parents both passed away in an unexpected car accident, it was he who held my hand, telling me over and over, "Chen Xiaoman, don't be afraid, I'll always be here for you." We were the childhood sweethearts everyone envied, having been part of almost every significant moment in each other's lives. I truly believed he would stay by my side forever, just as he had promised. That was until a new student joined the violin class, and Ju-shu started frequently mentioning another girl's name to me. He said, "Chen Xiaoman, don't you think that Lin Junjun is a bit like you?" "In what way?" "She plays the violin as badly as you used to." He said, "Chen Xiaoman, that Lin Junjun seems pretty interesting. Could you go get her contact info for me?" He spoke again, "Chen Xiaoman, Lin Junjun and I are together now." 5. The private room fell utterly silent, of everyone present, apart from Qin Kan. Most were Ju-shu's friends. Between classes and practicing the piano, I didn't interact with them much, so we were never particularly close. In contrast, Lin Junjun, since she started dating Ju-shu, often hung out with them and was on much friendlier terms with the group. Ju-shu's seemingly concerned remark made everyone exchange uneasy glances, their expressions shifting. I could already feel some people looking at me with disdain, as if I were the scheming childhood friend from a cheesy drama. The kind who deliberately makes things difficult for the official girlfriend just to steal the man. I tried to restrain Qin Kan, who looked ready to flip the table, then threw back the drink in my glass in one gulp. I offered a polite, distant smile. "It's just a little alcohol, nothing I can't handle." Ju-shu's expression turned even frostier. He strode forward and snatched the glass right out of my hand. In the process, he bumped Lin Junjun back a couple of steps. "Chen Xiaoman, you've got some nerve, huh? You know you break out in hives when you drink, and you still went for it." Irritation welled up uncontrollably inside me. "It's none of your business." Just as Ju-shu was about to speak again, the private room door was suddenly pushed open from the outside. 6. A figure in a black trench coat stood by the door, his tall, well-proportioned frame nearly blotting out all light from the corridor. His dark eyes held a faint chill as they swept over everyone present. Carrying an intangible sense of pressure, his gaze finally settled on my face, lingering for 2 seconds before shifting away. The previously tense atmosphere finally began to thaw. "Shunlai," Ju-shu sounded surprised. "I thought you said you were busy today and couldn't make it." Shunlai strode into the private room on his long legs and took a seat directly opposite me as if it were the most natural thing in the world. "Just happened to be in the area. I'm here to pick someone up." "Did you find them?" someone asked, glancing toward the door in confusion. "I don't see anyone with you." A faint smile played at the corner of Shunlai's lips as he cast a subtle glance in my direction. No rush, guilt washed over me, and I ducked my head, avoiding his gaze. 7. Perfect timing. Now everyone's here. Lin Junjun suddenly spoke up to smooth things over. She pulled Ju-shu back to his seat and raised her glass again. "Since we've all managed to get together today, we should at least have a toast." "Oh, I almost forgot. Xiaoman doesn't drink." She smiled apologetically, then her eyes suddenly widened as if she just remembered something. "Chen Xiaoman, how about I set you up with someone? Once you get a boyfriend, you can have him drink for you. That way, you won't keep troubling my Aishu, making him worry about you all the time." She stared at me unblinkingly, her eyes filled with unmistakable displeasure. Everyone caught the sarcasm in her words. In the heavy silence, I glanced over at Jushu's side at Shenlai, who was lounging lazily against the back of his chair. "No, thank you," I declined with a smile. "I already have a boyfriend." The moment the words left my mouth, a sharp crack echoed in the air. Jushu's face darkened. Veins bulged on the back of his hand as he crushed the wine glass in his grip. Sharp shards of glass pierced his skin, and his palm was instantly slick with blood. "Chen Xiaoman," Jushu said through gritted teeth. "What did you just say?" "8. Lin Zhenjin gasped in alarm and immediately asked a server to bring a first aid kit. As if he couldn't feel the pain, Jushu kept his eyes fixed intently on me. "Say that again," I repeated, enunciating each word slowly. "I said, I have a boyfriend." "How is that possible?" Someone scoffed coldly. "Exactly. Everyone knows you've had a crush on Jushu for years. Chen Xiaoman, Zhenjin meant well. You don't have to make up a non-existent boyfriend just to turn her down, do you? Or are you just saying that to get a rise out of Jushu?" A look of sudden understanding dawned on everyone's faces. Jushu's previously gloomy expression softened slightly. He let out a long sigh, his tone tinged with reproach. "Xiaoman, don't say things you don't mean." I was so exasperated I wanted to roll my eyes. "Believe it or not, but by drinking this glass today, I'm putting all our past misunderstandings to rest. From now on, I don't want to hear any more rumors about you two breaking up because of me. If you still want to be friends, don't drag me into your little love games anymore." With that, I picked up my bag and headed for the door. Just as I reached it, something occurred to me. I stopped and turned back. "Shenlai, could you see me home?" As soon as the words were spoken, a wave of sharp intakes of breath rippled through the private room. Everyone's eyes widened in utter disbelief. Jushu whipped his head around. "Chen Xiaoman, who are you asking?" The man sitting beside him, a faint smile touching the corners of his eyes, rose slowly and walked towards me. "It's no trouble at all." Jushu tried to chase after her, but Lin Zhenjin held him back. He clenched his fist, driving the shards of glass in his palm deeper. His voice trembled slightly. "Chen Xiaoman, don't you dare leave." Without looking at him, I turned and walked out of the private room. 9. It's a bit warm in the car. I sat in the passenger seat with my head down, unsure of what to say. My phone kept ringing. It was Jushu calling repeatedly. I found the noise annoying, so I just put it on silent. Shenlai suddenly leaned in, his long arm reaching over to pull the seatbelt across me and fasten it. Yet, he didn't pull away afterward. He was very close, the faint scent of cedarwood lingering at the tip of my nose. I could clearly feel his gaze linger on my neck, then shift to my arm, as if he were inspecting me. After a long moment, he spoke, his voice carrying a cool, magnetic quality. "Are you feeling unwell?" I immediately realized what he was talking about and shook my head. "No, it was just a couple of sips of red wine. That's not enough to give me a rash." He nodded, settled back into his seat, and started the car. The cool evening breeze drifted in through the car window, dispelling the heat from my face. 10. When I first heard the name Shenlai, I imagined someone as bold and fiery as the name suggested, but after the few times we met, I realized that wasn't the case at all. He was quiet and aloof, with an air of detachment that kept everyone at a distance. At every gathering, he either wouldn't show up, or he'd just make a brief appearance before leaving. Jushu said he was incredibly talented, born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He excelled at everything from a young age and won countless awards, both domestic and international, with ease, so I could never quite figure out how someone so unattainable and elite ended up becoming close buddies with Jushu and his crew. From high school all the way through college, Shenlai and I had practically no interaction. However, an unexpected turn of events happened last month. 11. At the violin club's dinner gathering, I mistook a whole bottle of fruit wine for juice and drank it all. The members were horrified when they saw the large red rash covering my body and immediately tried to haul me off to the hospital. Just as we stepped out of the restaurant, I ran straight into Shenlai. He carried me into the car and floored the accelerator the whole way. Actually, my alcohol rash just looked serious. It wasn't life-threatening. What was truly dangerous was that I suddenly had a drunken fit in the car, grabbed Shenlai by the neck, and bit him hard 3 times. After biting him, I even smacked my lips and said he tasted pretty good. Strangely enough, after I sobered up, that particular memory was etched in my mind with startling clarity. I was practically on my knees apologizing to Shenlai, swearing up and down that I would make it up to him. A faint smile played in Shunlai's eyes. The vivid red mark from my teeth still visible on his neck. And how exactly do you plan to make it up to me? My brain short-circuited. I didn't know whether I should take responsibility for him or let him take a few bites out of me. Can I think about it? Sure. 12. Ever since that day, I kept running into Shunlai, at the library, the sports field, the cafeteria. Even when I was practicing the piano, I'd see him walk past the window. I started to suspect he was doing it on purpose. When he asked to share my table for the 10th time during lunch, I finally couldn't hold back anymore. Shunlai, are you in a hurry? I haven't made up my mind yet. He gave a soft ham and picked out a piece of sweet and sour pork ribs, my favorite, and placed it in my bowl. Then he replied softly, I'm not rushing you. 13. By the time I gathered my thoughts, the car had already pulled up outside my apartment building. Shunlai followed behind me and saw me to my door. With some inner turmoil, I slowly fished out my keys to unlock the door. Get some sleep early. If you feel unwell, call me right away. Okay. He looked at me for a moment, then added, close the door. I gripped the doorknob tightly, looked up at him, as if steeling myself with resolve. Shunlai, what I just said about having a boyfriend, it's not true, I know. But it could become real. Shunlai was taken aback for a moment, then let out a soft chuckle. His sharp eyes and brows softening, he asked, feigning ignorance, how so? I want to take responsibility for you. Will you be my boyfriend? My palms were sweating. Without waiting for his reply, I quickly added, no need to answer right away. Take your time to think it over. I can wait. Goodbye, good night. With that, I slammed the door shut with a loud bang. My heart was pounding out of my chest. I leaned against the door and let out a long, deep sigh. The lights were still off, leaving the room in complete darkness. My phone screen suddenly lit up. I picked it up and saw it was a call from Shunlai. Isn't he right outside the door? Though a bit confused, I answered the call anyway. His voice was hoarse, as if he was struggling to hold back some emotion. Open the door, he whispered. I want to kiss you. Right now. 12. I can't breathe. The moment the door opened, Shunlai barged in with an almost aggressive force, slamming it shut behind him, in the pitch darkness. His hands wrapped around my waist, his tall frame pressing down on me, followed by a torrent of kisses. My mind was a complete mess, and I could barely piece together how things had escalated to this point. Shunlai's kiss was fierce, as if years of pent-up desire had finally found its release. Overwhelming and impossible to resist, I pressed my hands against his shoulders, feeling the air around us grow thin, struggling to catch my breath. Shunlai, I'm really about to suffocate. He suddenly cupped the back of my head and bit down hard on my lip. I gasped in pain, and only then did he stop. Our lips parted, but his arm remained locked around my waist, holding me firmly against him. Shunlai didn't seem to be faring much better. In the silent darkness, our foreheads pressed together as we gasped for air, our breaths mingling. It took a long moment for the tension to ease. I could feel Shunlai's gaze lingering on my face. Then he raised his hand, his warm fingertip tracing my lips, gently stroking the spot he had just bitten. Did it hurt? A little, but I still shook my head. I'm okay. The atmosphere grew a little awkward. Shunlai, don't you think things are moving a bit too fast between us? He was quiet for a moment, then murmured a faint amham. A little. Yeah, well, I expected him to get the hint right away. Let me go, and for us to say our goodbyes, then we'd each go home, reflect on what happened today, and take things slow, following the proper steps of dating. But Shunlai just held me tighter and asked in a low voice, feeling better now? He leaned in close, the crisp scent of cedar filling my senses. His voice was husky, still thick with desire. I'm going to continue. With that, his lips found mine once more. How considerate of him to give me a heads up. 13. But this time, his kiss was gentle, soft, fleeting kisses landed again and again on my cheeks and the corners of my lips. Shunlai's movements lost their earlier aggression, leaving only a careful, lingering tenderness. With one arm around my waist and the other cradling my face, his gentle pecks gradually deepened into a passionate, lingering kiss. My heart hammered wildly in my chest. Instinctively, I closed my eyes as a wave of weakness washed over my limbs. I clung tightly to his shoulders, surrendering as an unfamiliar tide of sensation slowly drowned my senses. The phone screen flickered on and off, on and off. Jushu's calls and messages kept coming in non-stop. Shunlai gently nipped at the tip of my tongue before scooping me up into his arms and carrying me across the moonlit floor toward the living room sofa. In the midst of that long, drawn-out kiss, it suddenly dawned on me that in some ways, Shunlai truly lived up to his name. He was intense, almost overwhelmingly so, as if he possessed a boundless, inexhaustible energy. Thankfully, I didn't find it unpleasant. Shunlai's tall frame sank into the sofa, his palm supporting the small of my back as he guided me to straddle his lap. My lips were already growing numb, and the buckle of his belt was digging painfully into my thigh. With my hands braced against his shoulders, I used the brief moment of catching my breath to put a little distance between us. Shunlai, that's enough. Shunlai visibly faltered, as if finally realizing he had truly gone too far. I'm sorry, he said, his voice hoarse. I lost control. Seeing that I remained silent, Shunlai seemed to grow flustered, his arm tightening around me. In the darkness, I couldn't make out his expression, but I sensed a trace of unease and pleading in his tone. Don't hate me. I was somewhat taken aback. I never imagined that Shunlai, someone who seemed to have it all, could show such a vulnerable side. I don't dislike it, I said, my cheeks flushing. I'm just a little tired. Shunlai seemed to smile. He rested his forehead lightly against my neck, his breath brushing softly over my collarbone as he spoke. What are your plans for tomorrow? I thought about it. Practice piano in the morning, work on my thesis in the afternoon. So, would you like to meet up? Sure. How about we get a bite to eat? Lunch, all 3 meals. I smiled and said, okay. 14. The next day, as soon as I arrived outside the practice room, I found Jushu sitting by the door. He was still wearing the same clothes from yesterday, looking rather haggard with heavy shadows under his eyes, as if he hadn't slept all night. Seeing me, he abruptly stood up. Chen Xiaoman, I've been calling you all night. Why didn't you pick up? I sidestepped, evading his attempt to grab my hand. Sorry, I wasn't on my phone last night. Jushu's eyes were bloodshot, his gaze intense enough to crack. You weren't on your phone? Then what were you doing? Why did you have Shunlai see you home last night? Are you close with him? Also, when did you move? Why is it that when I went to your place, your neighbor said you'd already moved out? His barrage of questions was starting to get on my nerves. What's it to you? What's it to me? Jushu let out a cold laugh. Chen Xiaoman, you're doing all this just to get a rise out of me, aren't you? I was completely baffled. Have you lost your mind? Chen Xiaoman, after all these years, who could possibly understand you better than I do? Jushu said with an air of absolute confidence. I know Zhenzhen embarrassed you in public yesterday, and it made you furious. I apologize on her behalf. From now on, I won't let her appear in front of you again. A look of weariness crossed his face as he let out a helpless sigh. But you have to promise me you'll stay away from Shunlai from now on, and don't you dare ignore my calls, or use other men to get a rise out of me again. 15. So it's true, when you're utterly speechless, you really do feel like laughing. Jushu, what exactly am I to you? A neighbor, a friend, or just that same little tag-along who used to follow you around everywhere? I stared at him coldly. What gives you the right to tell me what to do? Chen Xiaoman, we grew up together. After all these years, haven't I always looked out for you? Right, we grew up together. But that's all it ever was, wasn't it? A flicker of stunned confusion crossed Jushu's face. I took a step back, putting distance between us. Jushu, just admit it. We've both changed. You have your choices, and I have my own life. From now on, I'd appreciate it if you'd stop being so indecisive and keep your nose out of my business. Jushu clenched his fists. His palms, cut by glass, were crudely wrapped in a few layers of gauze, from which thin threads of blood were now seeping. No, he said, his gaze turning obstinate. Nothing has changed. I let out a soft sigh. Having no desire to continue this argument with him, I moved because my old lease was up. I don't see any need to tell you my new address. As for Shunlai, I paused briefly. I have even less reason to stay away from him, because he's my boyfriend. Jushu's body gave a violent shudder. What did you say? What did you just say? Two voices rang out at the same time. Qinkan appeared out of nowhere and threw an arm around my shoulder. Well, Chen Xiaoman, you kept your relationship a secret from me. I gave an embarrassed smile, pulling Qinkan towards the practice room. I'll explain everything to you in a moment. Jushu, however, suddenly grabbed my wrist with such force it felt like he was trying to crush the bones. Oh, let go. Jushu acted as if he hadn't heard. His eyes were rimmed red, a look of shock mixed with suppressed fury on his face. Chen Xiaoman, are you serious? Before I could even speak, Qin swatted Jushu's hand away. She pulled me aside and said to Jushu, without any courtesy, enough already, young Master Ju, you have a girlfriend, so why do you keep pestering Xiaoman? You just walked out without a word yesterday and were completely unreachable all night. Your girlfriend cried through half the dinner, none of us could console her. If you don't go make it up to her soon, watch out, Lin Zhenzhen might break up with you again. With that, Qin rolled her eyes, grabbed my arm, and marched straight into the practice room without looking back. 16. I explained the whole story to Qin. After hearing it, she first let out a long sigh of relief. Well, that's a relief. You've been single all this time, and I really thought you couldn't get over that scumbag Jushu. I shook my head with a relieved smile. I let go of that a long time ago. Qin added, no wonder you suddenly asked Shenlai to take you home last night. It really surprised everyone. Was it that surprising? I asked, a bit puzzled. We're all friends, so giving someone a ride home isn't that strange, right? With anyone else, maybe not. But that was Shenlai we're talking about. Sure, everyone in our circle comes from a good family, but compared to Shenlai, we're all small fry. Qin let out a disapproving TSK. In the world of the story, with his status, we'd all have to call him the crown prince of the Beijing elite. I could never figure out why someone so far out of our league would stoop to mingle with our crowd, but now, I think I'm starting to understand. As he spoke, Qin's gaze settled on me. I gave a wry smile. You're reading way too much into this. Qin's expression was one of clear disagreement. Don't believe me? Then let me lay out the evidence for you. Think about it. Shenlai never comes to any of our gatherings, but if you're there, he always shows up. This is a guy who couldn't even be bothered to attend his own graduation, yet he's never missed a single one of your games or performances. Even the closest of friends would find that hard to do, don't you think? Qin's eyes widened, a full-body shiver running down her spine. It's terrifying when you stop and think about it. The rest of us can barely get an audience with him, yet you just keep bumping into him all the time. And don't forget those anonymous birthday gifts you get every year. The year before last, it was a 7-figure jewelry set. Last year, a custom-made violin with your name engraved on it. You still have all those things sitting untouched at home because you never figured out who sent them. Now that I think about it, who else but Shenlai could be that extravagantly generous? Qin clapped her hands. Shenlai must have had his eye on you for years. In secret, I was so stunned. I couldn't speak for the longest time. Could it just be a coincidence? There aren't that many coincidences in this world. For some reason, I thought of Shenlai's unrestrained kiss from last night, and my resolve began to waver. But, he doesn't seem like the type to have a secret crush. True enough, Qin nodded, then added, his vibe is more like the type who'd lock someone they're obsessed with away and subject them to non-stop, non-consensual passion. You need to read less of that smut. 17. Ever since I found out Shenlai might have a crush on me, I haven't been able to stop myself from noticing his every move these past few days. He seems to know everything about me, my love for sunflowers, my dislike of onions and garlic, my peanut allergy, all these preferences I've never mentioned to anyone else. He knows them all intimately. Shenlai is a gentleman and considerate, yet when we're alone, he always holds onto my hand, or suddenly leans in to kiss my cheek while I'm talking. It's like a little puppy begging its owner for affection. That look of dependence and unease is completely at odds with his refined, noble demeanor. Every time I finished practicing the piano and turned around, Shenlai was always there. He was leaning in the half-light, holding a brilliant bouquet of sunflowers. A breeze stirred, and in the gaze he turned my way. Emotions I couldn't decipher swirled, like a suppressed madness, like a restrained possession. He looked at me with a faint smile, as if to say, I've been waiting for you for a very long time. 18. Qin said that Jushu has been practically living at the bar lately. Every time he gets drunk, he calls me non-stop on the phone. He always seemed lost in memories, reminiscing about the past from every corner of our shared world. He talked about the garden bursting with roses that we used to pass on our way home from school. He mentioned how we'd spend our pocket money to buy cans of food for the little stray cat by the school gate. He recalled the time my violin teacher made me cry, and how he secretly put chili in the teacher's thermos to get back at them for me. I was lulled into a drowsy state. Shenlai pulled me into his arms, taking the phone while gently patting my back. "She's asleep. I'll keep you company." Jushu hung up the phone. He started relentlessly messaging me again. He asked why I was with Shenlai, said I didn't really know him at all, and demanded I break up with him. I finally reached my limit and blocked him on everything. A few quiet days passed before Aunt Lin reached out to me. Aunt Lin is Jushu's mother. Ever since my parents passed away in the car accident, Aunt Lin has treated me with immense kindness, almost as if I were her own daughter. Over the phone, she mentioned that Jushu had been in low spirits lately and asked if he was having trouble with his girlfriend. I didn't know how to respond, so I could only say, "I suppose so." Aunt Lin spoke with a touch of melancholy, chatted with me about some everyday matters, and finally asked me to come home for a meal on the weekend. I thought it over and still said, "Okay." 19. Jushu was there the day I went back. He was wearing the white shirt I gave him for our high school graduation, looking utterly worn out. The moment the door opened and he saw me, a flicker of light and hope flashed in his eyes. "You're back." I nodded and slipped inside. Aunt Lin took my hands. Looking me over from head to toe, she said I'd lost weight, then told me she'd ask the cook to prepare my favorite sweet and sour pork ribs. The aroma of a home-cooked meal wafted from the kitchen, while a lively soap opera played on the television. Jushu sat on one end of the sofa, watching Aunt Lin and me chat with a pleased expression. In a daze, it was as if he had been transported back to his high school days, to an ordinary yet blissful evening. After dinner, Aunt Lin went to the study to attend to her work. Jushu stopped me, his tone even carrying a hint of desperation. "Chen Xiaoman, we need to talk." 20. When did you and Shenlai get together? The night of the dinner party. A flicker of pleasant surprise crossed Jushu's face. I quickly interjected, "Don't get the wrong idea. I'm really not with him just to spite you." Jushu had lapsed back into his lifeless state. You like him?" I thought of the scene when I was leaving. How Shenlai had clung to me, nuzzling and refusing to let go. Unconsciously, the corner of my mouth lifted. Jushu fell silent for a moment, then suddenly let out a self-deprecating laugh. "Do you really know him?" "Jushu," I said, looking at him coolly, "I know you, and yet we're not together, are we?" Jushu choked up. He clenched his fists and turned his head away, refusing to look at me. Believe it or not, Shenlai already has someone he likes. I've seen it. His phone wallpaper is a photo of a girl from behind. He's used that picture for years. After hearing that, I nodded. Oh. Jushu turned his head in shock. "Chen Xiaoman, have you really become that indifferent? This is between Shenlai and me. It has nothing to do with you." I paused. "Jushu, let me make this clear to you one last time. What happened in the past is over. I hope you can live your own life well, and stop interfering with mine. In that case, we can still be friends." "Friends?" Jushu's eyes reddened. "Chen Xiaoman, who wants to be friends with you?" I understood. "Fine, then let's be strangers." A fierce wind whipped up all around, and Jushu's face turned deathly pale. I added calmly, "From this day forward, we are finished." In the distance, thunder rumbled ominously as a torrential downpour cascaded from the sky. "It's raining," I whispered softly. "Jushu, I'm going home." 21. After saying goodbye to Aunt Lin, I opened the door and saw a familiar figure. Shenlai leaned against the wall, his silhouette stretched long by the warm, yellow light. He looked over at the sound, and when he saw me, the tension in his brow instantly softened. "What are you doing here?" I ran over, took his hand, and gave it a squeeze. It felt a little cold. Shenlai's gaze lingered on the hand with which I held his, a faint smile touching the corner of his lips. "It's raining," he said, his hand closing firmly around mine. "I'm here to take you home." Shenlai's car was parked outside the villa, holding an umbrella. He sheltered me in his embrace, keeping me safe from the wind and rain. Just as the car door opened, Jushu suddenly came running after her. "Chen Xiaoman, please don't go." The rain had soaked his hair and shirt, leaving him looking utterly wretched and pitiful. Jushu stood with his back hunched, his expression one of anguish and desperation. "I regret it." He stared intently at me. "Chen Xiaoman, I regret it. Could you, please don't go." Jushu took a few more steps closer and pulled a folded envelope from his pocket. "A love letter. This is the love letter you wrote me. You do have feelings for me, don't you?" He held the envelope out to me. his gaze full of hope, as if clutching a lifeline. Chen Xiaoman, we promised we'd always be there for each other. Have you forgotten? 22. I wrote that love letter at the start of my final year of high school, intending to hand it to Ju Shu in person after the college entrance exams, but after the exams, Ju Shu told me he was already with Lin Zhenzhen. I tucked that letter away, along with my girlish secrets, in the very bottom of the drawer. So much time has passed that I had completely forgotten it even existed. To my surprise, Ju Shu actually dug it out. The paper had already yellowed with age, and now, dampened by the rain, it was on the verge of falling apart. I reached out and took the love letter. The arm encircling my waist tightened instantly. Shun Lai's gaze turned icy as he stared impassively at Ju Shu. I moved closer to him, trying to soothe his unease. So, Ju Shu, what is it you regret? You knew I had feelings for you. Yet you still chose to be with someone else. You were the one who broke the promise first, weren't you? Ju Shu hung his head, rain streaming down in rivulets from the tips of his hair. I'm sorry. His voice trembled. Chen Xiaoman, I'm sorry. I was just scared. Ju Shu's family was not a happy one. Her mother was a businesswoman, her father an artist. Their love was once passionate and intense, but as the fervor faded, the perfect match ultimately turned into a resentful pair. She despised his air of artistic arrogance, while he scorned her mercenary ways. After countless bitter arguments, Ju Shu's father, in a fit of anger, left the country and never returned. That's why he was afraid that even the most beautiful feelings of youth would eventually turn to ashes in the fires of life. Ju Shu thought to himself, then let's just be friends, at least as a friend. Chen Xiaoman would never leave him, but only now did he realize how terribly wrong he had been. I'm sorry, Ju Shu choked out, his voice thick with emotion. Chen Xiaoman, please forgive me. With a gentle tug, I tore the love letter in my hand into 2 pieces. I smiled faintly and tossed it into the nearby trash can. No one stays in the same place forever. Ju Shu, I don't have feelings for you anymore. With that, I took Shun Lai by the hand, turned, and got into the car. Ju Shu's gaze went vacant. As if all strength had left him, he sank to his knees in the pouring rain. Utterly broken. For many years after that, Ju Shu remained trapped in that storm-lashed night, consumed by solitary regret. 23. Shun Lai remained silent the whole way home. I couldn't help but feel a pang of guilt the moment we got home. As I was hesitantly trying to find the right words and had just called his name, Shun Lai suddenly turned and pulled me into a tight embrace, his arms wrapped around my waist, holding me tighter and tighter, as if he was afraid I might slip away. Then, slowly lowering his head, he buried his face in the crook of my neck, his scorching breath tickling the nape of my ear. I raised my hand and patted the back of his head, asking, Shun Lai, are you angry? Shun Lai began to nibble at my neck, giving it light, teasing bites. I'm not angry, he mumbled, his voice sounding a bit muffled. So you're scared? Shun Lai froze, then looked up to meet my gaze. I saw the darkness and restraint in his eyes. A moment later, he leaned in and kissed me on the lips, leaving no room for refusal. His kiss was fierce, charged with a palpable urgency and unease. Finally, breathless, he released me, resting his forehead against mine. He let out a soft and whispered, I was scared. I was left gasping for air from his kiss, scared that I would have a change of heart. Shun Lai remained silent, which was as good as a confirmation. I smiled faintly. So little faith in me. He shook his head, his tone surprisingly plaintive. It's that I have no confidence in myself. Just look at those downcast eyes, like a wounded puppy. My heart melted completely. I cupped his face in my hands and planted 2 big, smacking kisses. How about now? Shun Lai's brow arched slightly, his expression instantly brightening, a peculiar light glinting in his eyes. Are you trying to sweet-talk me? I'm sweet-talking a puppy. The corner of his lips quirked up, but the puppy thinks it's not enough yet. Then what would be enough? His gaze turned predatory as he pulled me closer, a raw hunger darkening his eyes. Say you like me. Shun Lai lowered his head, brushing a tender kiss against my lips. Baby, say it. Say you like me. I looked up, met his gaze, and said each word with deliberate clarity. Shun Lai, I like you. The last syllable was swallowed by his searing, deep kiss. 24. We stumbled from the doorway, entangled, all the way to the sofa, in the heat of the moment. A sudden thought flashed through my mind. I pushed Shun Lai away and held out my hand to him. Give me your phone. Shenlai naturally took out his phone and placed it in my palm, but his deep gaze remained fixed on my flushed lips, clearly not having had enough. The password is your birthday. With that, he leaned in and gave me another kiss. I unlocked my phone, and the next second, I saw a picture of me as the wallpaper. To be precise, it was a photo from my sophomore year of high school. That was the day I won the gold medal in a violin competition for the first time in my life. It was just a small inter-school competition, but the honor it brought me was immeasurable. Judging by the angle, the photo looked like a candid shot, capturing only my back. I stood on the podium, holding a bouquet of flowers in one hand and a trophy in the other. Under the stage lights, I seemed to be glowing in the photograph. I stared blankly at my phone until my eyes began to grow warm. Shenlai, I asked, do you know why I love sunflowers? Shenlai raised his hand, gently stroking my cheek with his fingertip. Because the piece you played when you won your first gold medal for the violin was Sunflower. Shenlai, have you liked me for a long time? Yes, a very, very long time, I pressed on stubbornly. When did it start? Probably from when I heard someone's saw-like violin playing in that abandoned equipment room behind the school. The abandoned equipment room. It was like a sudden, profound revelation. 25. I wasn't the quickest learner. Back in middle school, my violin playing was downright painful to listen to. Ju Shu would complain to me every single day with utter disdain, begging me to spare his ears. I was young and proud back then. In a fit of pique, I threw my violin down and declared I'd never play it again. But come midnight, I secretly retrieved it and found a secluded, out-of-the-way spot to practice in secret. That spot was an abandoned equipment room behind the school. Turns out, it wasn't a secret hideaway that belonged to me alone. At that thought, my lips quivered and tears instantly welled up in my eyes. Shenlai panicked, fumbling as he tried to wipe my tears away. What's wrong? I sobbed, barely able to speak. You've seen me at my absolute worst. What's so embarrassing about that? Shenlai held my face, planting kiss after kiss. The way you were so frustrated you couldn't get a single note right, crying and playing at the same time. It was incredibly endearing, I explained. I was just so determined back then. I wanted to practice in secret and then amaze everyone. Shenlai's gaze was tender. I was completely and utterly amazed by you a long time ago, sweetheart. My cheeks burned, and I awkwardly changed the subject. Did you become friends with Ju Shu? For me, yeah, I wanted to be closer to you. So, all those anonymous birthday gifts I got before were from you. Shenlai nodded. Why didn't you tell me? I was afraid to tell you, in case you wouldn't accept it. My heart softened, and I let out a long, wistful sigh. Oh, Shenlai, Shenlai. What would you have done if you'd missed out on me? Shenlai chuckled softly and held me tighter. It's a good thing I didn't. Really good. That's nice. 26. Qin Kan is sharing gossip with me again. She says Ju Shu and Lin Junjin have broken up again. This is the real deal. Ju Shu is the one who called it off. Lin Junjin tried to get him to stay, but Ju Shu just blocked and deleted her. How heartless. Just the other day, he was all lovey-dovey chasing her abroad. After a moment, she asked, has Ju Shu been looking for you again? He regrets it now, doesn't he? Serves him right. Over the following week, Lin Junjin came to see me a few times, mainly to ask about Ju Shu's whereabouts. I said I didn't know. She looked rather haggard, and as she left, she gave me a bitter, mocking smile. Ju Shu broke up with me. She said the only reason she pursued me in the first place was because I reminded her of you. Chen Xiaoman, you must be thrilled to have beaten me, right? I rolled my eyes. The only wins and losses I care about are in my violin competitions. As for you, you're not even worth my notice. I complained about this to Shenlai. After listening, he just smiled and said, don't worry, she won't be showing her face around you anymore. Not long after he said that, Lin Junjin withdrew from school. Later, Aunt Lin told me that Ju Shu was preparing to go abroad and asked if I could see him one last time. I refused. That same night, I received a text from an unknown number. It contained just 4 short words. I'll wait for you. I was curled up in Shenlai's arms watching a horror movie when the message came through. He picked up my phone, glanced at it, and replied, sure, we'll send you an invitation to the wedding. Sour, 27. On the day Ju Shu went abroad, I happened to be competing in the national violin competition. The moment the rankings were announced, the spotlight fell on me, and everyone was cheering for me, amid the bustling crowd. I saw a solitary figure walk away through the exit, It looked like Jushu, but I had no time to dwell on it, because right now, I'm going to embrace my beloved. Story 2. I got drunk after a breakup and went for a ride with the bar owner, on the back seat of the motorcycle. I was so excited that I was shouting woo woo, boss, boss, you're so handsome, wanna date? The bar owner said, didn't you say that even if all the men in the world were dead, you wouldn't come to me? Help. Why does the bar owner look so much like my stepfather's son? Hello, everyone, welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. I'm so stupid, really. I introduced my sister to the scumbag for a photo shoot, but they cheated on me in a blink of an eye. I became a Hulk. After beating up the scumbag, I went to get drunk. It was my first time in a high-end bar. The alcohol got to my head, and I was completely out of it. There were so many handsome guys with long legs. I was dazzled, especially the bar owner with his back to me at the bar. He had a cold temperament, yet he fit perfectly into the noisy environment without any awkwardness. Just looking at his back, I knew he was a real hunk. He was quite appetizing with the alcohol. When I came to my senses, I could see double. With the alcohol taking effect, my emotions were magnified. I grabbed a waiter and cried my eyes out, resentfully recounting the scumbag's crimes. When I got excited, I even smashed a wine glass. The waiter was so scared that he scurried off to find his boss. I felt dizzy and nauseous, so I lay down on the table to sleep. Not long after, the bar owner came and tapped on the table lightly. I opened my eyes and saw a pair of hands with long and slender fingers, tinged with a bit of darkness. My mind went blank instantly. Little brother, do you have a girlfriend? Your sister just broke up. I didn't really mean to hit on him. I was just drunk and had nothing to do. For example, I also took out a cigarette, lit it in a decent way, but ended up choking myself to tears. Suddenly, a shadow loomed over me, full of oppressive feeling. The cigarette in my hand was snatched away and broken in two. Ride a motorcycle, wanna go? Through the mist in my eyes, the bar owner's face was obscure. You look a bit like a relative of mine. Playing the kinship card won't work. Then I was dragged out. A helmet was put on my head. I sat on the back seat of the motorcycle, hugging the bar owner, and the scenery on both sides kept retreating. No wonder some people say that when you're in a bad mood, you should go out for a walk. I whistled and said, boss, boss, you're so handsome, wanna date? Maybe I shouted too suddenly. The bar owner was so startled that his body stiffened, and the motorcycle wobbled. I tightened my arms around his waist. After that, I blacked out. The next day, I woke up in a strange room. I was so scared that the alcohol completely wore off. I checked my clothes and found they were in good condition, so I heaved a sigh of relief. Just then, the door was pushed open. Here's the list of the things you damaged in my bar last night, along with the medical expenses, cash or credit card. The bar owner rolled up his sleeves, revealing his purple-colored arm. I was dumbfounded. Leonard. Why does the bar owner look exactly like my stepbrother from a different father and mother? Leonard sneered. Didn't you say that even if all the men in the world were dead, you wouldn't come to me? I remembered flirting with him last night, asking if he had a girlfriend, and our last encounter, when I had defiantly said harsh words to him. Leonard, even if all the men in the world were dead, I wouldn't come to you. I wanted to bang my head against the wall. If I had known this bar was his, I would never have come, not to mention letting him see me in such a pathetic state of drowning my sorrows in alcohol after being cheated on. After slipping away from Leonard, I slacked off at work while chatting frantically with my best friend. What, you didn't know this was Leonard's bar? I thought you knew, otherwise. With your state, how could I dare to let you go to the bar alone? Didn't you see his moments? He's back to get married. Get married. A long-forgotten and strange feeling welled up in my heart, reminding me of those bitter days when I had a crush on him. And, the year Leonard graduated from university, he got drunk. His roommate called me and said, "Sister-in-law, Leonard is drunk. Can you come and pick him up?" When I got there, Leonard was leaning in a corner of the sofa. The light was dim. His facial features were deep set, and the corners of his eyes were slightly red, looking both bewitching and alluring. It was the first time I had seen him like this. My heart was pounding like it was about to jump out, and my face was blushing furiously. "Can you still walk?" He didn't move, just stared straight at me. I reached out to pull him, but he pulled me into his arms and kissed me. At that moment, I stopped breathing. All I could think about was whether Leonard liked me too. But before I could confess, Kathy showed up. When she saw this scene, she cried and ran away. Leonard's roommate was dumbfounded. Fuck, I dialed the wrong number. Leonard, what's wrong with you? How could you kiss the wrong person? My psychological defense collapsed, and big tears rolled down my face. Leonard's face also turned ugly. Jennifer, are you that aggrieved? My deep-rooted inferiority and shame welled up. To give up on my feelings, I said harshly. Even if all the men in the world were dead, I wouldn't come to you, especially since he had a girlfriend. After that, I never saw Leonard again. I deleted his phone number completely, discarding my unspoken crush along with them. After graduation, he followed his girlfriend's footsteps and applied for an overseas assignment. Even when he came back occasionally, he avoided me. After all these years, I still remember that night, the light in his eyes dimming bit by bit. And the embarrassment I had hidden. He should really hate me. Pulling my thoughts back, I transferred money to my best friend and asked her to forward it to Leonard. Half an hour later, my best friend transferred the money back. He said, you took the lucky cat from his store. It's made of gold. If you don't return it today, he'll call the police and arrest you. There really was a lucky cat in my bag. I seriously suspect that Leonard is crazy. Who would make a real gold lucky cat? It's clearly an invitation to steal. After work, I went to return it with a heavy heart, praying that Leonard wasn't in the store. Coincidentally, he wasn't. Unfortunately, Corin and Jack were there. Oh, they were my scumbag ex-boyfriend and the shameless mistress. The mistress, oops, Jack said. Brother, this bar is so stylish. The decoration style is so cool. Can we hold my birthday party here? Then she saw me. She let out a YA sound, hooked Corin's arm, and looked complacent. Sister Jennifer. What a coincidence. Are you here for a drink? The drinks here seem quite expensive. It's not easy for you to earn money at work. Corin, and I will treat you. Corin looked a bit uncomfortable. Jack's birthday is on Saturday. Come along. After all, you rarely have the opportunity to come to such places. When he loved me, he said I was thrifty and independent. After breaking up, he sneered at me for being poor. You guys have really taken all the good things. YA, you must be the boss's girlfriend. I was just saying that the boss cherishes his precious Harley so much. How could he let you ride it? The waiter said with a gossipy face. This was a perfect chance to vent my anger. If I didn't use it, I'd be a fool. Your boss has good stamina. I threw my bag on the bar counter and directly sat in Leonard's seat. Sorry, this store doesn't allow mistresses and scumbags. You too, get out. I managed to act cool, and it felt great. Jack was so angry that her face turned green. She was about to say something when the waiter excitedly pointed at me and said, Boss, the boss's wife is here. Leonard was wearing a black shirt with the top 2 buttons undone. His hair was slightly messy, looking lazy and decadent. The moment our eyes met, I was stunned. Leonard, pretending to be his girlfriend to show off and vent my anger, but getting caught red-handed by the real owner. Really, don't stop me. I really want to die. Especially with the real owner wearing a don't touch me stinky face, which completely killed my idea of asking him to act. Just as I was pretending to go to the toilet and sneak away, Jack spoke. Sister Jennifer, the boss doesn't even look at you. Don't tell me you're just pretending to be his girlfriend. As if touching a hidden corner in my heart, my face burned. Just as I was about to speak, Leonard had already walked over and naturally put his hand on my shoulder. His world-weary face had a bit of a bad boy look. Not look at her, look at you. Jack, who probably had never been frustrated in front of a man, froze. I'm talking about you too. Didn't you hear what my girlfriend said? Get out. Corin gave me a meaningful look, then led Jack away. Baby, that woman just winked at me. She was trying to seduce me. Leonard suddenly lowered his head and said to me. Jack, who was at the door, exploded. She turned around and was about to rush in. But Corin had already disappeared. She stomped her feet in anger and chased after him, shouting, Corin, listen to me explain. Leonard is really mean. But damn, it's so satisfying. I was immersed in the joy of it when Leonard suddenly said, I have good stamina. I was stunned. He heard everything. You knew. He added, this is killing me. I've lost all my face. I racked my brains but couldn't come up with an idea. I put the lucky cat on the bar counter and squeezed out 2 words, thank you. Then I turned around and was about to leave, but was stopped by Leonard. Want to skip out on the bill? I went back as if facing death, scanned the QR code on the table, and paid the money. From beginning to end, Leonard didn't look at me again, Just when I left, he clicked his tongue and said, "Jennifer, you're really blind. Who hasn't met a few scumbags when they were young?" Coincidentally, I met the scummiest one. After Corin and Jack got together, I found out that Jack was Corin's first love. The reason for their breakup was that Jack thought Corin wasn't considerate enough. I became a tool for Corin to practice. He was just waiting to reach the full level and then kick me away to get back together with Jack. Even the photography studio Corin opened was named after her. I even thought Corin's choice of name was really nice. It's nothing. Yeah, how could anyone love me? I tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. During the day, it was okay, but at night, that sense of loneliness and restlessness became more and more unbearable, so much so that I was in a daze at work the next day. After work, I planned to go back and catch up on sleep. Just as I got out of the office building, I saw a flashy pink Cayenne parked by the road, and Leonard, leaning against the car door, smoking with one hand. As expected of Leonard, even when waiting for someone, he's incredibly charming. I hesitated for 3 seconds, pretended not to see him, and turned to leave, but before I could take 3 steps, the collar of my clothes was grabbed. "I've been waiting for you for an hour. You're just going to leave without saying hello. Is there a problem with the bill?" Other than that, I couldn't think of a reason for Leonard to come to me. "Dad asked you to go home for dinner. Get in the car." So it was Leonard's uncle who asked him to pick me up. No wonder. I opened the rear door. Leonard sneered sarcastically. "Am I your driver?" "Fine." I got into the passenger seat. The car was cramped. The nicotine smell on Leonard was replaced by body heat, creating an indescribable sense of awkwardness and weirdness. I pretended to sleep but actually fell asleep. When I opened my eyes, it was pitch black all around. And only Leonard's eyes were shining. He leaned over with most of his body, in a position as if he was going to hug me. If he moved forward a little more, he could kiss me. I had just woken up, my mind was blank, and I called out vaguely, "Leonard." His Adam's apple bobbed, and the emotions in his eyes were hard to discern. With a click, the lighter flame sprang up, illuminating the mischievous smile on his face. "What are you pouting for? Did you think I was going to kiss you, me?" Although I was just picking up a lighter, but seeing how expectant you look, "Okay, call me brother, and brother will take care of you. Take care of your ass." I pushed Leonard away and said expressionlessly, "Does your girlfriend know you're so flirty?" I opened the door and quickly got into the elevator, running in a hurry. My heart was beating faster and faster, so much so that my hands were shaking when pressing the password, and I made mistakes several times. Leonard stood behind me, clicked his tongue, pressed the password to open the door, and even gave me a mocking smile. I wanted to kill him. Leonard's uncle heard the sound, stuck his head out from the kitchen wearing an apron, and smiled. "You're quite fast. Go wash your hands. The last dish is almost done." "Okay." I went into the kitchen to help. Only when I'm back here can I feel alive. In my sophomore year of high school, my mom divorced Leonard's uncle. She went abroad with her new husband and completely abandoned me. My dad had just had a son at that time and didn't care about my life either. It was Leonard's uncle who gave me tuition and living expenses and treated me like his own daughter. There were 3 of us at the table. Leonard's uncle talked to me the most. "By the way, Jennifer, last time you said you were going to bring your boyfriend back. Coincidentally, your brother is also going to bring his fiancée back. Let's have a family meal together. What do you think about next month, Dad?" Leonard interrupted Leonard's uncle, looking lazy. "Can we just have a meal? With your attitude, you should be burning incense and giving thanks if Kathy is willing to marry you." So it's Kathy. After all these years, they're still together. I thought of the way he teased me in the car and felt a bit mischievous. Leonard's uncle, brother is really nice. There are so many girls who like him. The other day, I saw several girls going to the bar to look for him. Leonard is handsome and cool. He received a lot of love letters when we were in school. Leonard's uncle didn't like his way of attracting girls and would scold him whenever he saw it. I secretly felt happy. I thought Leonard would have a stinky face, but he didn't. His burning gaze fell on me. With a faint smile, I felt a chill run down my spine, and my hand trembled. "Brother." It's so embarrassing. I swear, I really just said that to make him uncomfortable. I lowered my head and desperately stuffed food into my mouth. Halfway through the meal, Leonard's uncle had to go to the company for something urgent. I packed some snacks for him and put them in his bag. I always stay here for one night whenever I come back, and today was no exception. As soon as Leonard's uncle left, The scene from just now played back in my mind like a movie. It was so embarrassing. Fortunately, Leonard's phone rang. I scurried back to my room, but I didn't have time to close the door, and the sound from outside came in. It was gentle and doting. She's quite fussy and shy. Forget it. Yeah, it's okay. There's no one at home. Then came the sound of the door opening and closing. They're talking about Kathy, right? Leonard has a laid-back personality and doesn't take much to heart. Only when talking about Kathy does he become serious. I suddenly became curious about how they get along. As soon as Leonard left, I let out a sigh of relief. I was quite comfortable alone at first, but soon I felt empty inside. A dense feeling of restlessness came over me, and my head started to ache. After taking a shower, I went to sleep. It rained in the middle of the night. The living room window was open, so I got up. The living room light was on, the window was closed, and on the table was the key to Leonard's KN. Is this the difference between people? I used to fantasize about having a car, but in the end, I found out that the only car I could afford was a second-hand Cherry. I was about to go back to my room when I suddenly realized something and looked towards the bathroom. As if sensing my gaze, the person in the bathroom opened the door and came out. Leonard's hair was still dripping, his upper body was bare, and his lower body was loosely wrapped in a bathrobe. His body had smooth lines, 8-pack abs, water trickled down from his collarbone. He looked like a male seductress. Is it nice? Do you want to come closer and take a better look? Leonard smiled wickedly. He knew he didn't see me as a woman, so he could joke around without restraint, but I couldn't. My face turned red instantly, and I felt a bit sad and at a loss. It's just so. Back in school, we were always at odds with each other, neither willing to give in. Now I'm still not going to admit defeat. Whose have you seen? Who's better looking? Of course anyway, it's not you. I must be crazy to discuss with him in the middle of the night who looks good naked. I turned around and went into my room, and his faint voice came from behind. You didn't say that when you were hugging my waist and calling me husband that night. The next day, I couldn't get Leonard's words out of my head. I banged my head against the table. When it was time to get off work, I went to buy a cup of lemonade with ice. Finally, my restless heart calmed down a bit. But wasn't that girl who just came out Kathy? She was arm in arm with a guy, very intimate. When getting in the car, the guy even kissed Kathy, and she smiled coyly. Isn't Kathy Leonard's fiancée? Was Leonard cheated on? I took out my phone to tell Leonard but found that we didn't have each other's Instagram. And it didn't seem appropriate either. Just then, Leonard's uncle sent me a message asking me to take a document to Leonard. He was going on a business trip for a few days. I took the document and went straight to the bar. The waiter recognized me and pointed me to a table. The boss's friend is here. That table. Oh, he was here just now. He should be in the bathroom. Wait a moment, sister-in-law. I was taken aback. Don't call me that randomly. Okay, sister-in-law, me. When I walked over, Leonard was leaning against the sink outside the bathroom, chatting with his friend. Come on, it's been so many years. You still haven't gotten over it. Someone who almost cost you half your life. How can you forget so easily? Then go after her. Dude, isn't that why you came back? With your conditions? You can get anyone. Leonard laughed, his tone full of self-mockery. She doesn't have me in her heart. If I push too hard, I'm afraid we won't even be friends. And, it's good now. At least I can see her. So, they're not together at all. It's all just Leonard's unrequited love. Maybe it's because I've never seen Leonard be so humble. Or maybe it reminds me of how humble I was back then. My heart felt blocked. Leonard probably wouldn't want me to know this. I turned around to leave. But my foot hit a vase. It made a loud noise. The two people by the sink looked over. The silence in the air was the most awkward. The moment I met Leonard's gaze, I panicked a bit. Like being caught doing something wrong. He was also stunned. Emotions I couldn't understand surged in his eyes, but were quickly suppressed. Forget it. He seemed to want to say something but stopped. Leonard's uncle asked me to bring you this document. I stuffed it to him and turned to leave, but he grabbed my wrist. Aren't you going to take a look? I thought it had nothing to do with me, so I didn't need to look. Leonard had already opened it. It was a house purchase contract. Wedding house. He had been drinking, and the corners of his eyes were tinged with a blush, making him look less cold and arrogant than usual. I thought I was stupid back then, but I didn't expect there was someone even stupider. Does she even know you're secretly preparing a wedding house? I don't know what came over me. I felt sorry for him. so I patted his shoulder and said earnestly, "A breakup isn't the end of the world. Look at me, I'm still alive and well. It's just that you'll have some trouble with Leonard's uncle. Leonard's uncle has been urging Leonard to get married for a long time." Leonard stared at me for a long time, then sneered, taking pleasure in my misfortune. "You ungrateful little thing. Have you forgotten all the good I did to you back in school?" My mom and Leonard's uncle got married when I was in the 3rd year of junior high. Both my mom and Leonard's uncle were busy, so it was usually Leonard who took care of me. He was so strict. He watched over me when I went to and from school, when I did my homework, and when I went out to play. He set rules for me. If I came back late, I would get scolded. His cooking was bad, and he wouldn't let me be picky. When did I start liking him? At that time. My parents regarded me as a burden. I lived with my mom every other week and with my dad on the alternate weeks. I remember it was an afternoon. My stepmom accused me of pushing her. My dad didn't believe me and was about to hit me. It was Leonard who came out with his phone, using the video he took to prove my innocence. He almost got into a fight with my dad, and the words he said when he pulled me away, "I'll take care of Jennifer for the rest of my life." I took it seriously, but the promise of a teenager for a lifetime just meant he saw me as a sister. We didn't get along well, but to be honest, he was really good to me. It wasn't his fault that he didn't like me. Pulling my thoughts back, I somehow felt a bit heartless. "Then I'll treat you to a drink. Treat me to a drink in my own bar, Jennifer, if you want to thank me. Show some sincerity." Leonard walked inside. I quickly followed. "So what do you want? Name it. Can you do whatever I say?" "Yes." Considering he was going through a breakup, I decided to give in a bit. Leonard turned around, and his smile gradually faded. He flicked the ash off his cigarette. And his eyes were more serious than I'd ever seen. "Get married. Can you do that?" Leonard and I got married. We moved. While packing things, I sat in the bedroom, looking at the 2 red marriage certificates on the bedside table. I was completely stunned. I'm married. And to Leonard, I must be crazy. At 3 a.m., Leonard came back. He made quite a bit of noise, so I got out of bed to check. He casually threw his coat on the sofa. There were bloodstains on his white shirt, a scratch on his wrist where the cuff was rolled up, and a bruise on the corner of his mouth. He was beaten black and blue. "Did you get into a fight?" "I fell." "Fall again and show me." Leonard looked up and smiled lazily. "You're getting into the role quickly." It was only when he entered the bathroom that I realized what he meant. The role of a wife. I didn't know what to say for a moment. I quickly followed him. When I saw him trying to unbutton his pants, my face turned red instantly. I turned to leave, but he pulled me in instead. "Give me a hand." "I can't do it with one hand." Unbuckling the belt, I felt a bit embarrassed. "Is your leg hurt too? Going to the toilet?" "I asked you to help me unbuckle the belt, not take off my pants." "What are you blushing for? Open your eyes. Where are you touching? Are you not eating enough? Use some strength." I got angry and shouted, "Then tell me how to unbuckle this thing." Leonard glanced at me, looking in a good mood. He held my hand. "I'll teach you." The moment he touched my hand, goosebumps rose on my back, and I held my breath. Just then, there was a click, and he leaned close to my ear and said lazily, "Got it." His voice was low and somehow a bit alluring. My face burned. I didn't want him to see, so I lowered my head and ran out. "Close the door. I'm going to take a shower." "Your hand is hurt. How can you wash? Will you help me?" "Wash by yourself." The bathroom door closed. "Wait a minute." When he taught me with one hand and put his other arm around me, he didn't seem like his hand was hurt at all. Then why did he go through all this trouble to ask me for help? Liar. Back in the room, I chatted with my best friend for a while. I couldn't hold it in and told her, You two actually got married." I knew it. The person who almost cost you half your life back then couldn't be easily missed. "Jennifer, be honest. Did you two sleep together that night?" My best friend sent a voice message, and the volume of the word sleep could blow the roof off. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a shadow at the door. I had a hunch, turned around, and met Leonard's intriguing expression. My heart skipped a beat. When did he finish showering? Did he hear everything? "What about us two?" Leonard teased. Thank goodness. He only heard the last sentence. The next moment, it wasn't much better. My best friend, this annoying person, couldn't wait for my reply and bombarded me with phone calls, like a soul-chasing messenger. I felt like I could donate my face because of embarrassment. I hung up the phone and tried to keep a straight face. "I'm going to take a shower." "Wait." Leonard stopped me. his expression a bit hard to describe. Not today. Why can't I take a shower today? Meeting his meaningful gaze, I blushed and pushed him away, dirty-minded. The days after getting married to Leonard didn't seem much different. We slept in separate beds. Oh, there were some benefits, of course. The big house of over 200 square meters was much better than my one-bedroom, one-living-room apartment. I thought he had an upside-down schedule, but I was wrong. He had regular work and rest, and his 3 meals were also quite punctual. I benefited a lot from following his routine. However, half a month later, I refused his offer to pick me up and drop me off from work. Rumors spread in the company that I had hooked up with a rich second generation. When Leonard heard this, he frowned and threw the key to me. Then drive by yourself. Are you kidding me? As a worker, if I drive a better car than the department manager, it would be a problem. This car color doesn't suit me. If you don't drive it, just leave it. Doesn't suit you, you chose a pink one. Leonard glanced at me and didn't say anything. I suddenly understood. He originally planned to give it to Kathy but didn't get the chance. I got the car and the house by chance. Even though I took such a big advantage, I still felt a bit empty-hearted. Jennifer, you're being sentimental. But soon, I was slapped in the face. On Monday, the rain was really heavy. I was about to be late for work, and I couldn't get a taxi, so I had to drive the KN out, park it in the adjacent parking lot, and then walk the rest of the way. No one would notice. As soon as I got out of the car, I saw Corin standing across the street, staring at me in shock. It really is you. He looked at the car and smiled. KN, not bad. I ignored him and picked up my bag to leave. Even if I didn't break up with you, you would have left me sooner or later, right? He's the one you've been crushing on for years, isn't he? Now that you have a house and a car, you can save a lot of years of struggle. We don't owe each other anything. What nonsense. I turned around and kicked him. Corin was kicked and staggered a few steps. He held onto the car with one hand and hugged his stomach in pain. Don't make betrayal sound so noble. You know very well how we started. Corin knew I had someone in my heart. Jennifer, I don't care that you have another man in your heart. I just want a chance. I want to try to make you forget him. He chased me for almost half a year. I agreed. And what happened? While I was planning our future, he hooked up with his first love. They even pretended not to know each other. I was so stupid that I thought that girl was a client and told him to be nice to her and maintain a good relationship. If it had been a little later, I might have become a stepmother. Jennifer, I'm doing this for your own good. While he's willing to give you things, get as much for yourself as you can. His family background is beyond your reach. In Corin's eyes, I don't deserve any good things. I was in a bad mood all day, so when Leonard called to ask if I wanted to go to his bar at night, I refused, but I didn't expect that after work, my best friend dragged me to have dinner and sing. It was her male god's birthday, and she was too embarrassed to go alone, so she dragged me along. As soon as we entered the KTV, she completely forgot about her male god. Quick. Tell me how you and Leonard got married. Have you two slept together yet? Fortunately, the singing was loud enough to cover our conversation, otherwise I would have died of embarrassment. I roughly told her what happened, and she was dumbfounded. Just like that, no flowers, no ring, and no proposal. Jennifer, are you sure Leonard didn't just find a live-in nanny for himself? You seem more like a live-in nanny. Half a month after getting married to Leonard, I rarely had the chance to cook. Several times when I got up in the morning, he had already made breakfast. Sometimes when I worked overtime late, I could also have his midnight snacks when I got home. Life was quite good, actually. I was also curious. Why did Leonard propose to get married to me? Was he so hurt by Kathy that he just randomly picked someone to marry to deal with Leonard's uncle? But why me? I held a glimmer of hope in my heart, but quickly dispelled it. How could Leonard like me? Actually, Leonard is not bad. Since you're already married, why not consider him? After saying that, my best friend went to sing a duet with her boyfriend, leaving me in a daze. It's actually easy to fall in love again with someone you once loved deeply. This is the conclusion I've come to after getting along with Leonard these days. But I'm afraid, when I was young, I could be brave enough to charge forward and get hurt. Now I just want to hide in my shell. After all, it hurts too much, after drinking too much. I got up to go to the bathroom. While washing my hands, a boy came over with a big smile. I recognized him. He was one of the guys in the private room. He was quite sunny. Sister, has anyone ever told you that you're very beautiful? I smiled, raised my hand, and showed that I didn't have a wedding ring. You're handsome too, but sister is married. The younger guy obviously didn't believe me. Your husband is willing to let you out alone at night. Unlike me, I would only feel bad for sister. He was really young and unrestrained. I dried my hands and was about to leave when the younger guy reached out and grabbed my arm. Normally, for young people, expressing love when they feel attracted is nothing. But getting handsy is really annoying. Fuck, the younger guy exclaimed in pain. My words were interrupted. Leonard suddenly appeared out of nowhere and took the guy down directly. Are you crazy? Leonard's face was cold. He pulled me into his arms and said in a very unfriendly tone, "Get to know me, I'm her husband." The younger guy knew he was in the wrong, apologized, and left. Sister-in-law. I turned my head. The waiter from the bar was holding a cake in his hand, looking excited. The boss said you were working overtime. I thought you weren't coming. To ease the awkwardness, I asked, "Whose birthday is it?" As soon as I said that, the surroundings fell into an eerie silence. Especially those friends of Leonard from college. In that instant, the way they looked at me changed. One of them said half jokingly and half seriously, "No way, sister-in-law, you don't know it's Leonard's birthday." In the past 3 years, I deliberately tried to forget him. How could I still remember his birthday? Leonard, is this really your wife? What nonsense are you talking about? We had a fight. Leonard put his arm around me. Are you really angry? I already said I didn't mean to not answer your call. A meaningful "oh" sound came from behind, and they pushed each other and went in first. There was no one around us. Leonard let go of me, and his expression turned cold. You came here to work overtime. I'm not. I'll take you back first. He didn't give me a chance to speak and walked out with big steps. His back looked cold and proud. My eyes suddenly turned red. My heart felt like it was being tightly grasped, and I could hardly breathe. I didn't want things to be like this. When we got to the underground parking lot, I finally caught up with him. Just as I was about to explain, he grabbed me and roughly pushed me against the car. Then his lips came down. It was fierce and urgent. I knew he was angry. His friends knew that we got married, and on his birthday, his wife actually forgot, which made him lose face. But why did he kiss me? Countless fireworks seemed to explode in my mind, like being possessed. I didn't push him away. It was a long time before he let go of me. He no longer had the previous aloofness and coldness. It was as if he had vented all his emotions. Was he pestering you? I shook my head. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to make you lose face in front of your friends. Still leaving, he lowered his head to look at me and wiped my lips. My face instantly turned bright red. Let's go back. It's your birthday. It's not good for me to leave. Okay. He took my hand and we went back. As soon as we entered, the people inside started to penalty drinks, 3 cups each. Leonard seemed to be in a good mood. He lowered his head and said to me, "1 cup is enough." Openly cheating. That's not fair. I'll drink 3 cups as a self-penalty. I simply stopped talking. Leonard really could hold his liquor. After a few cups, his eyes were clear, and he didn't seem drunk at all, afraid that his stomach would feel uncomfortable. I took some snacks. He didn't move, but opened his mouth instead. After a moment of hesitation, I fed it into his mouth. At this moment, the turmoil in my heart was even louder than the noise in the private room. I listened to him sing for a while before suddenly realizing that I hadn't told my best friend. The private room was too noisy, and I didn't hear my best friend's call at all. I sent her a message to explain, and she quickly replied, "I heard about it. It seems that Leonard was jealous." The little brother was almost scared to death. It was like a big showdown. I'm actually quite looking forward to it. What the hell is all this? How could Leonard be jealous of me? I forgot his birthday and didn't even prepare a gift. So what? You can just give yourself to him. If my best friend could be relied on, pigs could climb trees. Tell me honestly, what do you really think of Leonard? It's too fast. As expected of my best friend. She understood what I meant even with such an abbreviated answer. Too fast for what? Are you going to guard that scumbag Corin for the rest of your life? Leonard marrying you means you're special to him, to put it bluntly. With his conditions, he can find anyone. Why don't you give it a try? How much worse could it be than 3 years ago? That makes a lot of sense. And since we got married, our way of getting along has strangely become more harmonious. He doesn't bicker with me anymore, and he's become much gentler. I secretly glanced at him, and my heart was in a turmoil. Give me one of your phones. Leonard, what for? I want to save my number. I sent a message. Before long, I was dragged to sing. During the process, Leonard went out once. When he came back, he didn't drink anymore and sat quietly in the corner. I don't know if it was my illusion, but I always felt that his eyes fell on me from time to time, with a hint of intrigue. The birthday party lasted until the middle of the night before we went back. As Leonard drank more, he started to feel the effects of the alcohol. The corners of his eyes were red, and his eyes were moist. I came out with a glass of honey water and saw him slumped on the sofa like this. My heart was pounding fast. Drink this and go to bed early. I'm going back to my room first. Wait. Leonard reached out and grabbed me. He stared at me meaningfully for a while and then asked, "Explain. What were you planning to do when you bought that thing for me? Did he accidentally see me secretly buying a gift for him in the private room? I bought a Longines watch. It wasn't too shabby. It was like a hidden secret had been discovered, and I felt a bit embarrassed. What else could I do? Of course, it's for you to wear." He was obviously shocked and asked in disbelief, "Are you serious? Do I look like I'm joking? If you don't want it, forget it. I want it." He stared straight at me, his eyes like a wild beast eyeing its prey. "When? Tonight? It's not that fast. It will take at least 2 or 3 days. Can you wait? If not, I can. Then I'm going to sleep. Jennifer." Leonard called out to me, his eyes incredibly affectionate. I must be seeing things. How could he look at me with such eyes? But something felt off. This strange feeling lasted for several days, until my best friend sent me a series of naughty emojis, and a screenshot of her express order, a small square box. "Quick. Thank me. Hehe." The time and location. I suddenly remembered Leonard's strange behavior the night of his birthday when we came back, and our conversation. So, what he said to me that day might not have been about the watch. The key is, we were talking about different things, yet we could still seem to understand each other. I wish a thunderbolt would strike me. After work, I rushed home. Fortunately, Leonard wasn't there. I secretly slipped into his room. It was clean and tidy. It wasn't in the drawer of the bedside table. I went to rummage through the closet. It wasn't there either. I let out a sigh of relief, just as I was about to leave. A teasing laugh came from the door. "What are you doing?" I was so startled that I almost jumped. I said I got the wrong room. "Do you believe me? Not even a ghost would believe that." Leonard chuckled. "If you got the wrong room, then don't leave. Move in here." His expression became serious. My heart skipped a beat. And I didn't dare to look at him. I don't want to hold back anymore. He walked in front of me, grabbed my hand, and put it in his pocket. Looking at the small square box in my hand, I really wanted to beat my best friend up. I really had to admire her. After that, things got a bit out of my control. I moved to the master bedroom. I even took 2 days off from work because I was exhausted. Leonard didn't go to the bar. We were like a loving couple, holding hands and going grocery shopping in the supermarket. I was lounging on the sofa, eating yogurt and watching TV while he was cooking in the kitchen. I remembered when I was in school, my mom and Leonard's uncle were very busy, so they asked Leonard to take care of me. He seemed fierce on the surface. After school, he would make me sit at the table to do my homework while he went into the kitchen. At first, he couldn't even fry an egg without burning it, but in the end, he could cook a whole table of delicious-looking dishes, pulling my thoughts back. My heart was filled with warmth. I went back to my room, put on my slippers, and rushed into the kitchen. "Let me help you." "Okay, help me tie the apron," I said. After tying it, I found myself trapped between the stove by him. My face turned red all the way to my neck. He smiled wickedly. "Jennifer, are you this shy when dating your brother?" I quickly put the watch on his hand in a fluster. "This is a belated birthday gift for you." Then I fled in a hurry. "Are we together now?" After years of longing, my wish came true. I was happy but also a bit nervous. After work, I would deliberately take a detour and look at the bar from the outside. I didn't go in. I couldn't really explain why. Maybe I was too shy, or maybe if I showed it too obviously, it would seem like he had peeked into the deepest secret of my heart, and I would lose somehow. I also rarely called him to chat, not because I didn't want to. Leonard doesn't look at his phone much, besides taking care of the bar. He has other things to do. I'm afraid of disturbing him. One day at work, the manager asked me to go out with him to deliver some documents. I was carefully looking at the documents, preparing for the upcoming negotiation. Suddenly, the car stopped. The manager put his hand on my thigh. I felt terrible. I pushed him away and tried to open the car door, but it didn't open. I was both scared and nervous. but I forced myself to stay calm. At the same time, I secretly turned on the voice recording function on my phone. Manager, why did we stop? The manager showed a lewd smile. Jennifer, I heard that you've been driving a Cayenne recently. That car isn't cheap. Let me tell you, the company is going to promote a group of new employees next month. I have one quota in my hand. You're capable and good-looking. I really appreciate you. By then, it won't just be a Cayenne. Buying a house will be a piece of cake for you. You know what I mean, right? We're all adults. When he said this, it was clear what he meant. The car was locked. If I resisted and angered him, it would be bad. I forced a smile. Thank you, manager. That's good. He reached out and grabbed my hand. I tried my best to hold back my nausea. People might see us. There's a small forest over there. Then I lowered my head. The manager was stunned for a moment, then smiled. I didn't expect this. Okay. As soon as the door opened, I dialed 110 and then started running. The manager reacted quickly. He grabbed my hair. My phone flew out far away. I kicked him hard, but to my surprise, even though his face was distorted in pain, he didn't let go of me and slapped me hard. Fuck, you bitch. Do you really think you're some chaste woman? Don't be ungrateful. The strength difference between men and women was too great. He was dragging me into the car. I couldn't get in the car, or I would really be in trouble. I bit him like crazy. He showed his fierce side and still wouldn't let go. Finally, a car came towards us. I shouted. Seeing the situation, he let go of me and drove away. I didn't expect the person in the car to be Corin. Jennifer, are you okay? I'm okay. Get in the car first. It was hard to get a taxi here. But it wasn't too remote either. The manager was unlikely to come back. I picked up my phone. Fortunately, only the tempered glass screen protector was broken. While sending my location to my best friend, asking her to come pick me up, I refused. No need, thank you. After such a big thing happened, you're not going to tell Leonard. Corin obviously saw my phone screen. Doesn't he care about you? I was very annoyed and really didn't want to waste words with him. I'm really grateful for what happened today. The rest is between me and my husband. No diamond ring, no wedding. What kind of husband-wife relationship is this? Corin was usually gentle, but today he was very irritable. Last time he fought with me because of you. I thought he cared about you a lot, but it seems not. Jennifer, let's get back together. Fight. Was it the 16th that day? Maybe, I can't remember. So, Leonard was injured that day because he fought with Corin. My mood was a bit complicated. I thought I still loved Jack. But after losing her, I realized that it was you who had been with me for the past 3 years. I broke up with her. Leonard can't protect you. I can, at least. Something like what happened today won't happen again. Sorry, the person I love now is Leonard. Corin didn't pester me anymore. He didn't say anything and just stood there quietly. I couldn't control him, so I let him be. When my best friend came, she was so shocked that her mouth could fit an egg. After getting in the car, I told her what happened. She was so angry that she cursed the manager's ancestors for 18 generations. Call the police. You must call the police, Jennifer. What are you going to do? I'm going to resign. I had made up my mind. Before leaving, I would give the recording to the boss and the police. My best friend accompanied me to the police station and then sent me home. I took a shower and took a nap. When I woke up, it was already dark. When I went out, Leonard was sitting on the sofa, the lights were off, and there were cigarette butts all over the floor. Aren't you going to the bar today? I had something to do, so I came back early. What happened to your face? Who hit you? When the incident happened, my first reaction was to call Leonard, but now that he asked, I didn't really want to say. It was all over, and I had handled it well. Moreover, I felt that he wasn't in a good mood tonight, and I didn't want to make him feel worse. I was just joining in the fun today and accidentally got hurt. It's okay now. He looked at me with extremely deep eyes for a while, then said, come here, I'll put some medicine on you. I resigned. Leonard's hand paused, and he said expressionlessly, why did you resign for no reason? The salary has never increased. I want to change to a new environment, then take a good rest for a while. Where do you want to go? I'll take you out to play. No, I want to rest at home for a few days. Okay. Neither of us spoke. There was a long silence. Suddenly, Leonard squeezed my fingers. Jennifer, why don't you ask me what I've been busy with recently? I let out an ah and looked a bit dazed. If you want to talk about it, you'll tell me naturally. He laughed. You don't even ask. Forget it. I don't know if it was just my imagination, but I seemed to hear a strong sense of self-mockery in his laughter. The days without work were quite leisurely. I planned to take a half-month break. I bought new bed sheets and pillowcases, as well as couples' pajamas. I was too shy to put them out, so I hung them in the closet. Then I went to the supermarket to buy beef and tomatoes, and stir-fried 2 side dishes. I put them in a lunchbox and took them to Leonard. The boss has gone to the police station. Didn't you know, sister-in-law? My heart skipped a beat, and I quickly asked, what happened? It seems to be related to your matter. Your ex-boyfriend came that day, and they almost got into a fight. Sister-in-law, are you okay? I've seen the boss looking really gloomy these days. I'm too scared to talk to him. Did Leonard know? He hadn't told me. I put down the lunchbox and walked out. I met Leonard on his way back. Kathy was also there. Kathy said something to him, and he smiled. He took the lunchbox from Kathy's hand and only came in after Kathy turned around and left. I don't know what was wrong with me. I subconsciously wanted to hide, and I didn't even want him to know about the dinner I brought him. That annoying Tim just didn't understand my complicated feelings at all. Boss, sister-in-law has brought you a loving dinner. Tim was the waiter. Leonard seemed surprised that I was there. He was stunned for a moment. Why didn't you call me in advance? Am I disturbing you? I swear, I didn't mean to be sarcastic. I just subconsciously thought the worst. Leonard glanced at me, then stuffed the lunchbox in his hand to Tim. Eat it. Then he picked up the one I brought, took my hand, and led me to the inner room. Is it okay to give the meal made by Kathy to Tim? You want me to eat hers? Leonard gently tapped my head. Jennifer, are you jealous? I'm not, I said, feeling inexplicably flustered. Really not jealous. No, actually, I was a little bit, but since Kathy was married, I didn't want him to think I was being unreasonable, so I added, if Kathy wasn't married, you two would be the most suitable. I regretted it as soon as I said it. What the hell was that confusing statement? I actually lacked a lot of security. In Leonard's heart, Kathy should be very important. I was really afraid of hearing that answer from his mouth. It seemed that if I said it myself, I could feel a little less pain. Moreover, I didn't dare to seek security from others. I thought that as long as I was independent enough, everything would be okay. Just like back then, when I didn't have tuition and living expenses, I asked my parents for money, but they kept shirking responsibility and didn't give me any. My mom said, Jennifer, you're also your dad's daughter. Be good and ask your dad for it. My dad said, Jennifer, my salary isn't much. I still have to support the family. Go find your mom. I had shown my vulnerability. But what was the result? My parents, who gave birth to me and raised me, turned a blind eye. So how could I dare to rely on others? Leonard looked at me for a while, then lazily leaned back on the sofa. He didn't show much expression, but I felt that his aura was extremely cold. Jennifer, don't you want to ask me why Kathy came here? I trust you. He suddenly sneered. Do you really trust me? Then why don't you look into my eyes? What should I say? I just don't trust myself. I don't believe that I can be loved by you. I don't believe that I'm really that lucky to have all of you. Would you still say you trust me if I stayed with her all night? I looked at him in shock. Or does it mean that you don't care who I'm with or what I do? Jennifer, do you know that we're married? Leonard seemed to have endured for a long time. What do you take me for, a stranger living in the same house? You didn't even tell me when something happened to you. He smiled mockingly, and his eyes gradually turned gloomy. Even Corin knew, but I was like a fool, being kept in the dark by you. It's more than 20 kilometers from the suburbs to home. You'd rather ask your best friend to take time off to pick you up than call me. Jennifer, do you really love me? Leonard, I was extremely at a loss. I vaguely felt that I was wrong, but I couldn't sort out my thoughts. I'm not what? You didn't want to worry me, didn't want to trouble me, or you thought you could handle it yourself. Then why did you agree to get a marriage license with me? You've never asked me when we should tell Dad about our relationship, and you've never asked me when we're going to have a wedding. I didn't propose, didn't give you a ring, and you didn't care. Yeah, you don't care at all. Just like 3 years ago, you didn't care about me at all. Jennifer, let's get a divorce. All the words I wanted to explain got stuck in my throat. At that moment, the little courage I had mustered disappeared completely. It was as if a basin of cold water had been poured over my head. He still didn't want me after all. No one wanted me. I lowered my head and softly said a yes. Leonard was stunned. He grabbed me and forcefully pushed me against the wall, then kissed me. It was more like a bite than a kiss. Jennifer, you're really something. he said, his eyes bloodshot, as if trying his best to hold back something. He slammed the door and left. I wiped away my tears, composed myself, and then left too. It turned out that going through it again still hurt so much. I didn't even want to go home. I sat in the community until it was completely dark before going upstairs. Leonard didn't come back. He would never come back. I had messed everything up. I cried for a long time before I heard the phone ring. Jennifer, what's wrong? I couldn't say a complete sentence. My best friend quietly waited for me to finish venting before tentatively asking, "Did you and Leonard have a fight?" I briefly told her what happened. He mentioned divorce, and I agreed. The best solution I could think of was to go along with him and agree to everything. But it seems I made it worse. When I broke up with Corin was so calm, but Leonard got so angry. Does that mean he actually has feelings for me? But I'm afraid that in the end, we won't even be friends. I clearly care about him. I was clearly jealous. But I just didn't say it. It seemed that if I didn't say it, I could protect myself and not get hurt or abandoned. But now I think I was wrong. I don't want to miss him for another 3 years. If it's Leonard, I want to give it a try. After I finished speaking, I could clearly feel my best friend relax. I was about to persuade you, but you've convinced yourself. I've sent you the address. I heard that Leonard invited his friends to drink. He's probably drunk by now. Hurry up and go. After receiving the message, I opened the door and went out. The motion sensor light in the corridor came on, illuminating the figure of a man leaning against the wall. Leonard still had a cigarette in his hand. With the light flickering on and off, there were cigarette butts all over the ground. Our eyes met. The corners of his eyes were red. My eyes suddenly turned red, and tears streamed down my face. Unable to stop, Leonard stubbed out the cigarette, took 3 steps in 2, and pressed me into his arms. Jennifer, I really owe you. It was as if we were back in school days. When I came home from evening self-study, as long as I turned around, I could see him following me. I cried even louder. Little ancestor, can you stop crying? People will think I did something to you. I looked up at him with tearful eyes. You said you wanted a divorce, but I don't want to. He was stunned for a moment, and a flash of light appeared in his eyes. And, when that thing happened to me last time, I thought of you first, but you were busy, so I didn't dare to trouble you, afraid you'd dislike me. Leonard was angry and amused. Why do you like to make assumptions about others? How do you know without even asking? I was wrong, okay. Go back and tell me properly where you were wrong. In the heat of the moment, Leonard whispered in my ear, Jennifer, it won't happen again. Once is enough. I'll never mention divorce again. And I like it when you cling to me. Leonard and I made up. Strangely, the previous barriers between us seemed to have disappeared. I looked at the thermos box on the table, walked into the kitchen quietly, and hugged him from behind. What's wrong? What was the deal with Kathy's meal yesterday? Her husband had appendicitis. Tim and I happened to run into them and sent him to the hospital. Tim posted a moment on Instagram saying he wanted to eat pork rib and Chinese yam soup. Coincidentally, she made it and saw the post, so she brought us a portion on the way. After that, he even showed me Tim's Instagram moment. I was happy, but also felt embarrassed for my wild thoughts. Do you want to eat it? I can cook it for you tonight. Another day, Dad asked us to go back for dinner. I had forgotten about Leonard's uncle. How would he feel about me and Leonard getting married? My stepfather became my father-in-law. I was extremely nervous. I specially bought some gifts and was even laughed at by Leonard. When we entered the door, I was so flustered that I blurted out Dad without thinking. The scene was quiet for a while. Leonard's uncle was stunned for a long time, then smiled. Oh, I thought I might have to wait until you two had a wedding for you to slowly change your address. Come in. I've checked the dates. You can take a look. Leonard's uncle knew that Leonard and I got married. I looked up at Leonard in surprise. He smiled and led me in. Sitting between them, I realized that Leonard had already prepared everything for the wedding. Jennifer, you don't know this. After you two got the marriage license, Tony came back home once. He kept looking at his phone. I thought he was busy with something, but he was actually looking at the photo of your marriage license, smiling like a fool. Dad. Leonard looked a bit embarrassed. Leonard's uncle ignored him and continued. I was shocked at that time. I thought his fiancée was Kathy. How did it become you? I thought he bullied you. So I gave him a beating. I've wanted to beat him since he was in school, but I couldn't catch up with him. This time, he didn't even dodge. I finally got to beat him once. Thanks to you, Leonard. I secretly glanced at him and held his hand tightly. He curled his lips and held my hand back. I was glad that I had been brave once. By the way, Jennifer, getting married is a big deal. I haven't discussed it with your parents yet. We should invite them over. No need to discuss. Just send them an invitation. It seemed that I had let go. I used to wonder why they didn't love me. I always thought that if I was a little more obedient, independent, and didn't trouble them, they wouldn't abandon me. Now that I think about it, they made my life gloomy and my personality incomplete. I almost missed the person I love. On the way home, the moon cast our shadows long. Leonard, have I ever told you that I like you? Leonard's breath caught. No, say it again. I smiled. You haven't said it either. He kissed me, his voice hoarse. Leonard likes Jennifer. My heart fluttered. Something cold was put on my ring finger. Leonard magically took out a bouquet of roses and knelt down on one knee. Jennifer, will you marry Leonard? Only then did I notice that he was wearing a suit tonight. I originally had other plans, but I couldn't wait. You don't have to answer now. Anyway, I'll propose again. He laughed after saying that. I also laughed and took the flowers. I do. No matter how many times, I would be willing to marry him. I just never expected that the next proposal would come so soon. My best friend tricked me out. She was still a bit kind-hearted. She made me put on makeup and forced me to wear a dress. The proposal was at his bar, maybe because I had experienced it once. When he kissed me, I even had the thought of whether I could take some of the flowers home after it was over. When Leonard went to the bathroom, one of his friends came over with a glass of wine. Sister-in-law, be nice to Leonard in the future. Who else would be like him? Having his eye on you since freshman year and only getting to marry you now, I was stunned. My mind was full of what his friend said. When he found out that you were with Corinne, he drank all night and ended up in the hospital. When he knew that Corinne and you broke up, he didn't care about anything and came back immediately. So, he came back for me, was the person he said he was going to marry, and the wedding house he bought, all prepared for me. I thought he hated me. But what happened when we graduated from college? My hands trembling, I dialed Kathy's number. She answered, and I suddenly felt a bit ridiculous. I quickly changed my words. Senior, Leonard and I are getting married. Let's make an appointment. I'll send you the wedding invitation. You two are finally getting married. No problem. Before hanging up the phone, the senior told me something. I really liked Leonard back in college. I started chasing him because of this. There were a lot of rumors about us. At that time, I didn't know he had you in his heart. It was the time when Leonard graduated. I was going to confess my love to him. As soon as I went in, I saw him kissing you. I immediately understood. My heart was broken. Cough, cough. Honey, they're getting married. And it's all in the past. You're the one I love the most now, Jennifer. I won't talk anymore. I have to go and comfort my man. So, the unrequited love I thought was not a one-man show after all. He didn't mistake me for someone else. It was always me who got it wrong. I should have been braver back then, even if I had just asked. Back at the bar, I kept clinging to Leonard, which made him look at me several times. Jennifer, how much did you drink? You're so clingy tonight. My face turned bright red. I whispered in his ear. Is it okay to be even more clingy? Let's go home first. The next day, I woke up in the afternoon. Leonard left a sticky note. Went home to get something. There's porridge in the pot. Remember to drink it when you wake up. My heart felt warm. After washing up, the doorbell rang. I thought he was back, but it was Jack. She glanced at the house behind me, and undisguised jealousy appeared in her eyes. Jennifer, you don't deserve Leonard at all. Corinne told me that you've always had a crush on someone, liking them from freshman year until now. If Leonard knew, would he still marry you? I didn't bother to pay attention to her and tried to close the door. She stepped forward and blocked the door. Don't think I don't know anything. I heard that when you graduated, you went to confess to someone. But that person had a girlfriend and mistook you for someone else and kissed you. I didn't know what Corinne was thinking. Making Jack only know part of the story. That's right. I also heard that you broke up with Corinne because he wasn't considerate. Is that really the case? Or is it because your new boyfriend has better conditions? After saying that, I seemed to understand why Corinne didn't tell Jack that the person I had a crush on was actually Leonard. Jack's face turned pale. I'll tell Leonard. I already know. I didn't know when Leonard came up. His eyes were dark. Jack was delighted. Leonard. Jennifer has always had someone she likes. His face didn't look good. I was extremely afraid of a misunderstanding. Just as I was about to explain, he walked to my side, put his arm around my waist, and smiled. "Why are you so dishonest? You asked me so many questions last night. But you didn't tell me about your own things. I was going to tell you today. But Jack had said it first." Leonard smiled. "Thank you. Otherwise, how would I know that my wife had a crush on me since freshman year? The 6th day of next month, you're welcome to come to our wedding." Then he grabbed my hand and directly pushed the stunned Jack out, and closed the door with a click. I was a little shy and didn't dare to look into his eyes. He held my chin and smiled wickedly. "You had a crush on me since freshman year. Did you deliberately apply to the same university as me in college?" My face turned even redder. "I always thought you hated me. Do you have a heart? If I hated you, would I keep getting cold-shouldered by you and still keep coming to you?" I was wrong. Acting cute won't work. You have to explain it clearly this time. As the wedding date got closer, I became more and more leisurely. Leonard and Leonard's uncle took care of all the major matters, and I was only responsible for giving my opinions. I just didn't expect my mom to come back to the country. She brought me a gift, a bottle of perfume. I can't believe it. "You and Leonard are actually getting married." Well, Leonard is quite rich, and Leonard's uncle only has him as a son. The company will definitely be his in the future. While he's willing to spoil you, get as much for yourself as you can, have a son, and your position will be secure. Even if you divorce in the future, you'll, with a snap, I couldn't help it and threw the cup. "If you're not here to bless me, leave now." My mom looked at me in shock. "What are you going crazy for? Did I say something wrong? What did I do to you? You're so ungrateful, with your temper. Who can stand you?" All the grievances accumulated over a long time burst out at this moment. I also want to know why I have such a temper. I care a lot, but because I'm afraid of losing, I pretend not to care about anything. When you and Dad divorced, I begged you not to. After you divorced, Dad didn't give me tuition fees. I asked you for it, but you didn't give it to me. When you divorced Leonard's uncle, I asked you not to leave me alone, but you still went abroad. Do you remember what you said to me? I've always been thinking if there was something wrong with me that made you not want me. I tried to study hard, to be independent. I didn't dare to tell you when something happened, for fear that you would think I was a burden. I thought that if I became very sensible, you wouldn't leave me, but I was wrong." My mom stood there, stunned. Since it had come to this, there seemed to be nothing that couldn't be said. "When I was in senior high school, I didn't have lunch for a long time." My mom frowned. "During such a crucial time in senior high school, were you imitating others and not eating to lose weight?" Look, I shouldn't have had any expectations of her. You went abroad and left me alone. Dad had a new son. Where did I get the money for lunch? Should I ask Leonard's uncle? What was our relationship? He let me live in his house and prepared breakfast and dinner for me every day. That was already more than enough. He had no obligation to support me. It was Leonard who, after finding out, secretly stuffed money in my book. He understood my poor self-esteem. He deliberately asked me to buy food for him, always asking for 2 servings but not being able to finish, leaving 1 for me. Or he would ask me to write self-criticism for him and then pay me for my hard work, later. Leonard's uncle also found out and gave me a card, saying it was a loan and I could pay it back when I worked. I took it. There was a lot of money in it, enough to cover my 4-year college expenses. When I was admitted to college, Leonard's uncle gave me a pink computer. He said he originally bought it for Leonard, but Leonard disliked it. He was afraid of wasting it, so he gave it to me. My mom frowned again. "It's just a computer that someone else didn't want. Is it really that important?" I smiled. "Do you really think it was something Leonard didn't want? How could Leonard's uncle buy a pink computer for his son? You guys made me feel like I was really bad. I didn't even have the courage to like someone." "That's it. If you want to attend the wedding, you can, but save those words of 'for my own good.' They'll only wear down my last bit of affection for you. I don't want to hear you say anything bad about Leonard's uncle and Leonard, and I'm allergic to perfume." My mom was speechless for a long time and finally left. I no longer cared about her thoughts. I just felt that I understood too late. When Leonard came back, he turned on the light, seeing me sitting on the floor hugging my knees, and then looking at the expensive bottle of perfume on the table, he suddenly understood. She was here. Yeah. Did she bully you? No, she just said some really unpleasant things. I leaned into Leonard's arms, feeling more at ease than ever. "Leonard, will we always be together?" "Of course we will." He kissed me, then felt that this wasn't enough. I've asked the lawyer to draw up a gift agreement for the house and the car. You just need to sign it, and it will take effect. Dad also said that if I'm sorry to you, I'll have to leave with nothing. He won't give me a penny. If we have a child in the future, Jennifer, am I actually picked up by my dad, and you're his real daughter? He made me laugh. All along, he had been my light. Then you'd better treat me well, or I'll kick you out. He carried me into the bedroom, with a spark in his eyes. How about serving you well? Wait. Why on earth did you get a pink Cayenne? It makes you look so unserious. Have you really forgotten? In sophomore year, I don't know who was staring at Jack, saying that he looked so handsome driving a Cayenne with one hand. I remembered, at that time, Leonard was a bit angry, and I was confused. I even seriously commented that it was a pity it wasn't pink. Come on, tell me, who looks more handsome driving a Cayenne with one hand, me or your Jack? It said that men are like teenagers forever. I think 2 more words should be added at the end. Childish. On the night of the wedding, Leonard was lazily leaning on the bed, watching me count the gift money. There was a whole bed of money, all in cash. I had never seen so much cash at once, and I was a little excited. But Leonard wasn't happy. He picked up one of the envelopes, which felt heavy. 10,000. Quite generous. I looked at the signature on the red envelope. Corin. I didn't invite him, but he came on his own initiative. I didn't expect him to give such a large amount of money. It was clearly on purpose. Oh, it's from your ex-boyfriend. No wonder. Someone drawled, as if his face was written with "I'm jealous. Come and coax me." I thought for a while and went to kiss him. He held me down and I didn't succeed. Wait a minute. I need to make a call first. I thought it was something urgent. Unexpectedly, as soon as the call was connected, his first words were, "Thanks. Bro, I received the 10,000 yuan gift money. To be honest, I really should thank you for not marrying her. Yeah, I'm a bit jealous. She's quite happy, though. Oh. Don't get me wrong, she just likes the gift money. She's hugging me and kissing me right now, saying she wants to coax me because she's afraid I'll be jealous and ignore her. She never coaxed you like this when she was with you, right? You don't know, she's so clingy. She gets anxious if I don't let her kiss me. I won't talk anymore." This was outrageous. I was angry and amused at the same time. I kicked him. "Are you childish or not?" I could feel through the phone that Corin was quite angry. He pressed me under him. "Jennifer, coax me." The night was long, and dreams were tender. The end.